So I'm going to invite here in the front of you our four speakers, Marcio Albuquerque, who is the director of CBPF, President Antoine Petit, who is the president of the CNRS France. Please, Antoine, take a seat, please. Ulises de Almeida, who is the director of Claf, and also researchers here in CBPF, and Christelle Roy, who is our director of the Institute Nuclei and Particles CNRS. So please have a seat. Thank you very much. We're gonna have now a series of brief speeches where we're gonna understand how important is this creation, or at least the intention to create the International Research Network in astroparticles in between our both organizations. So I will invite Marcio de Albuquerque to say a few words about CBPF and the event.
Bon, je commence en français. Bienvenue Antoine, bienvenue Christelle. C'est vraiment un plaisir de vous avoir ici de nouveau. Bon, là, I will switch to English to continue. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all to the Centro Brasileiro de Pesquisas Físicas, CBPF, here in Rio. I'm especially honored to share this opening moment with Antoine Petit, the president of CNRS, and with my colleague Ulisses Barres, the Director General of Claf, and with Christelle Roy, the Director of the CNRS Nuclei and Particles. Thank you very much. Your presence here today reflects the strength, the maturity, and strategic relevance of cooperation between our institutions. Antoine, you visit CBPF in 2023, here exactly in this auditorium, and we visit CBPF in many other laboratories at that time. And looking back over these 3 years, we can say that your visit was first productive and transformative. Since then, concrete collaboration have grown, partnerships have been strengthened, and scientific exchange have intensified. We are truly pleased to see this relationship evolving in such a consistent and meaningful way. When that visit took place, we were living a very particular moment. Brazil was entering in a new political and institutional cycle with a strong sense of reconstruction for science and public institution. International cooperation was once again becoming a clear priority. I don't know if you remember, we were exactly in the moment of President Lula was arriving as a president of Brazil. 3 years later, the context has evolved, the world has changed. Today, beyond the challenge of funding and institutional development, we face a broader global concerns. The fragility of peace, geopolitical instability, climate urgency, and what I like the most, the growing responsibility of science in times of uncertainty. In this scenario, international scientific cooperation becomes not only desirable, but essential. Strategic partnerships such as the recent strengthening of relations between South America and Europe contribute to creating a broader environment of dialogue and cooperation. In this context, science can increasingly serve as a bridge, as a form of diplomacy, and as a shared language. This gives an even greater meaning to the partnerships between CBPF, CNRS, and Claf, and to the initiative we are celebrating today. This moment, Antoine and Christelle, is also particularly significant for CBPF. After many years without new permanent position, we have recently welcomed 62 new professionals through a national public calls. All of them are part of the official national career in science and technology within the Brazilian federal states. This group includes scientific and technological researchers who work on scientific research and technological development, and also analysts in science and technology. These professionals are dedicated to planning, management, and the development of scientific infrastructure within MCTI, the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation. This renewal represents an important milestone not only for CBPF, but for the entire system of research units of MCTI. We are about 16 research units abroad Brazil, and 6 social organizations, as CNP in Campinas is a social organization. And it strengthens our scientific capacity, renews our institutional energy. This is very important for us. As you can see, there are many new professionals in the labs, and expands our ability to engage in ambitious international cooperation. CBPF is honored to host this meeting. We are a national research center deeply committed to excellence in fundamental science, while increasingly engaged in strategic areas that connect scientific research to innovation and to social impact. During the laboratory visits, as you have already visited labs, you saw, or you were able to see, some of our key areas, including advanced detector developments and quantum technology initiatives. These are infrastructure designed not only for research, but for cooperation. In addition, we have established initiatives that maintain strong links with CNRS in fields such as nanotechnologies applied to new materials and to health and biomedical innovation, complex systems research and modeling, AI, artificial intelligence for science, with a focus on research into new models and advanced methods for data analysis, high-performance computing and advanced computational methods for supporting experimental and theoretical research. I would also like to extend my warm welcome to our colleagues from the CNRS Office for South America. It is a pleasure to receive you again, Lívio, Nico, the Director of CNRS Office for South America, whose presence enhanced this bridge between our scientific communities. Thank you very much, Lívio. And also, I would like to make a special mention to Olivier Fudin, who held this same position until 2019, and after a period working in India, is now returning to Brazil. Olivier has been an important partner of CBPF over many years, and it's a truly pleasure to welcome you back. Thank you. Now beginning a new chapter of his life in Brazil. Again, we are very pleased to have you with us today. We hope this meeting will not only celebrate what we have already built together, but also open new paths for deeper, a more ambitious, and more impactful cooperation. Thank you, Lívio. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Marcio. And now I'm calling our president, Antoine Petit, to pronounce his speech.
Thank you, Marcio, for your words. Thank you to welcome us again. As you said, we were already there 3 years ago. And it's a pleasure to be back here. And it's a pleasure also, as you explained, to see that the agreement we signed were followed by actions. And that's very important. CBPF is clearly one example of the quality of research done in physics in Brazil, and we are very proud to have you as partner. And as you said, we live a complex geopolitical world where relations which appear to be without any problems, in fact, became complicated. Mainly, of course, thanks to what happens in US. And the US was one of our main partners. So it's true for Brazil, true for France, true for a lot of countries. And now we can be frightened what happens in some domains. It's not true in all domains. In some domains, and I think it's important to pursue the development of relations between countries like Brazil and France. It does not mean that we forget our friends in US, but we cannot only focus on US relations, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know. Perhaps it's in fact an opportunity. Take it like that. I think relations between France and Brazil are quite particular. I mentioned this already this morning, but I had the chance to be part of the visit of President Macron when he came in Belém. I don't remember when it was, 1 year and a half ago, something like that. but I participate also to the dinner at Élysée when President Lula came to France, and clearly I think that science is one of the key pillars of the relations between Brazil and France. And I think that we humbly we can say that what we achieve, CBPF and CNRS participate to this relation, scientific relation, and probably is more important than ever. And clearly, astroparticles, and I will let Christelle enter in detail because she's a specialist, but I think astroparticle is clearly a domain where you see there is no borders, and that we need collaboration between us. And when I say between us, it's of course between Brazil and France, as I mentioned, but I think it's larger, and Claf goes much beyond just Brazil, and in some sense, CNRS also plays a particular role in Europe, where we are the first beneficiary of the European Framework Program forever, and we have a lot of relations, and I think it's important also to use the basis in some sense of our bilateral relations to expand this relation. And I think that these new networks, which is a new tool, will allow us to share infrastructures, and we all know that research infrastructures are so important in a lot of domains, and in particular in astroparticles. Infrastructure are important by themselves, but also important because they can be considered in some sense as magnets for talents. And we all know that there is some fight or some competition to say to attract the best talents. And the fact we offer them the possibility to use a lot of infrastructures in different countries in a complementary way, I think it's a very good point. And we know that Claf has been played a role to put people together forever. And I think this is a new step with this Latin American collaboration, as the name indicates. And I'm sure it will be the opportunity also to first of all, to have new results, new scientific results. And that's why, as scientists, we have chosen this job, but also to explain the importance of science, the importance of international cooperations. So yeah, I'm very happy to inaugurate this network. I'm sure that this is done with the support of the French consulate and the French, which is represented here, and thank you, Vincent, to be there, but also from the French embassy, and more generally of France. Clearly, as I said, France supports President Macron and his government support all the scientific international cooperation, and in particular those with Brazil. And I think it's a new step in this collaboration between France and Brazil in a series which lasts for a long time. Yesterday we celebrated the 20th anniversary of the labs, the international labs that we have with IMPA. And I think these long-lasting cooperations are really useful and show the power of collaboration to construct some kind of cohorts of scientists all over the year. And our relation is not so old, but it's not so new. And clearly it's a new step, and I am very happy to sign this agreement. And I want to thank you, Marcio, thank you, Ulysses, thank you, Marine, who is perhaps somewhere in a visio. So it's a bit too late, probably in France, I don't know, because I know that she has been also instrumental in this cooperation, and she's not the only one, and Ulysses, you're not the only one, and probably you will say that it is a collective work. Nevertheless, some person play a particular role, so I would really want to thank you. And also, since he's in front of me, to thank Liviu for what all he did, he does, and he will do for the collaboration. And also to say hello to Olivier, who was also instrumental, as you say, Marcio. When I started my position of CEO of CNRS, Olivier was there, and we have at least one visit I made. No, I don't remember. I travel too much. No, I will not be no nice. But between Olivier and Liviu, we had another representative of the office that we have all forgotten. So, but now we really have built, or not built, but consolidate this relation with a new subject, and you can count on the CNRS to pursue and to develop this cooperation. So thanks to all of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, President. So now I'm going to call Ulises Bares for his speech. Please, Ulises.
Thank you. Thank you, Liviu. And thanks to Marcio and then to Petit for the introductory words. It's right to say that for me it's a reason of great joy and a real honor to be here today with all the colleagues from CBPF and also the CNRS delegation that is here in Rio. I would like to start by thanking actually Liviu Nicu from the Office of South America, who was instrumental in the initial discussions about this network that started in the previous visit of CNRS to CBPF in March last year. I had just become director of Claf a couple of weeks before. And Liviu encouraged and guided a lot, helping to shape the initial idea of this network into a solid proposal. And of course, I have to thank as well Dr. Christelle Roy, who is here as director of IN2P3, also Nicolas Leroy, who is responsible for science director of astroparticle physics and cosmology, maybe connecting, I don't know, and Marianne Lemoine-Gourmand, who is connected, and of course, from the scientific side, also helped a lot making this through their enthusiasm and partnership. I would like to say a few words from the side of Claf to introduce this ceremony, which will mark the first steps on the creation of this Claf CNRS Latin American Astroparticle Physics Research Network. Astroparticle physics is one of the most dynamic fields at the frontier of physics worldwide today. In Latin America, it enjoys perhaps an unparalleled historical importance, as it is at the origins of physics research in this continent, particularly experimental physics. This is certainly true in the case of CBPF, the first institution fully dedicated to scientific research in the whole region, whose first director was Cesar Lattes, who co-discovered the pion in the observation of cosmic ray-induced air showers. But it's also true for the Department of Physics of the University of São Paulo, whose beginnings revolved around cosmic ray physics, as well as for traditional institutions in Argentina and Mexico. Astroparticle physics is, and has always been, one of the most international fields of physics, defined by the work of global scientific collaborations. The Chacautaya Cosmic Ray Laboratory near La Paz in Bolivia, very likely the first international research laboratory in this continent, is a historical testimony of that. Chacautaya not only played a central part in the discovery of the pion by Lattes in the 40s, but was also home to a collaboration between Bolivia, Brazil, and Japan that started only a few years after World War II, showing that science has always been a language common to societies all over the world, which has the power to serve as a bridge of friendship amongst peoples and nations. You can see here when you enter CBPF, a picture of Yukawa visiting CBPF at the times of its foundations to work with Lattes in the context of this Brazil-Japan collaboration that existed at the time. And this is a value that continues to be of extreme relevance today, as was hinted by the people that spoke before me. Beyond the great science, we are all convinced that will result from this initiative. I have no doubt that this continental network will leave a significant impact in the formation of students and young researchers for the continent, and in the scientific and cultural exchanges between Latin America and France. And not less important, I hope it will be the context for many continental and transatlantic friendships that form the tapestry of human life and society. Starting almost 30 years ago, Latin America is home today to a number of world-leading astroparticle physics and cosmology experiments. many of which have the direct involvement and leadership of CNRS. It is nevertheless true as well that from a Latin American perspective, the involvement of Latin American groups in these international collaborations is limited and oftentimes confined by national borders, meaning that usually the scientific partnerships are defined by the hosting agreements around which such experiments are established, with perhaps the exception of Brazil and Mexico, which have a tradition of working experiments across borders. When I was chosen as one of the spokespersons of SWJO in 2021, it readily became clear to me that this was a problem, because despite all the geographical and human potential of the region, this situation meant that in the end, what we have is a collection of international experiments in Latin America, but no true Latin American science experiment in the field. Of course, the local impact these experiments have, even despite such limitations, is enormous. Take, for example, the hugely successful example of the Pierre Roger Observatory in Argentina. But the right question to be asked is how much more potential there is to be unlocked from all the infrastructure that is already in place. And this is precisely the motivation at the root of this network. And I think that the multiple scientific ties between France and Latin America, the CNRS leadership in all of the experiments in question, and the framework that will be provided by the International Research Network all constitute ideal elements to help us succeed in transforming research in astroparticle physics in the continent, by helping to bridge these islands of research and create a true network of cooperation and scientific collaboration in the continent. In an era of growing division, Europe stands as a model of the power of integration, and I have no doubt that this is also the right model for us in Latin America today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ulysses. And now I invite Dr. Christelle Roy to deliver her speech. Thank you, Christelle.
Thank you, Livio. Dear Marcelo, dear Antoine, dear Ulysses, thank you very much for this inspiring word. I will be maybe brief, because I will speak about, we'll have a talk presenting, in fact, the division at CNRS called CNRS Nuclear and Particle. But nevertheless, I really would like to say that it's really a great pleasure and honor to be here today and at the CBPF. And so a place that shaped the scientific history of Brazil and of Latin America for more than 70 years, as we see here. And for us, it's really stand as a symbol of excellence and of intellectual freedom, of international openness. We are also gathered here to celebrate the Claf, in fact, institution, which, as you know, is an intergovernmental organization created in 1962 under the auspice of UNESCO to promote the development of physics through the continent. And I think that, you already said that Claf embodies the idea that science knows no border and that cooperation is a powerful vector of progress. Why I mention, in fact, these two, both CBPF and Claf, is that I think that we share the same conviction at CNRS Nuclear and Particles Division, that we call also the NSUP3, the National Institute of Nuclear Physics and Particle Physics, and that had been created, in fact, in 1971 as a national institute, and which has a very highly international footprint. I will not. I will discuss about this in a few seconds, so I will not say more about this. And nevertheless, so you know that we are covering the physics of the two infinities, from the smaller particle physics to the cosmos, and we develop also experiment or project for the benefit of the society in the terms of energy, healthcare, or environment monitoring, security. And the overarching objective is to maximize, in fact, the societal impact while ensuring responsible and sustainable innovation. And while we will have this presentation by Ulysses about the Claf CNRS Latin American astroparticle physics network, and which in somehow bridge and while a door for us, for France, for CNRS, to the other, for Brazil, of course, but to the other countries of South America. And vice versa, I could say maybe that CNRS, so France, could be also a very great opportunity to build also a bridge between South America and Europe, because we shared also this project with, for instance, Portugal, but Germany and so on. Well, we will talk about also the experiment, so I will not describe this. Well, from Pierre Roger also to, we are currently thinking about how to be involved in SWGO experiment. It's currently under the progress and with the different teams in our labs in France. And well, I think that this is also a discussion that we will have with Ulysses today. What will be the next step, in fact, after I hope the signature that will be done in a few minutes, because we have to construct, in fact, the project, co-construct the project together, but also the next generation of project, and also how we can train the next generation of students and of scientists for experiment that will be open maybe in 20 or 30 years. We are really building, in fact, the future of particle physics in Europe, as you may know, at CERN. And the more, in fact, foreign countries out from Europe participate to this effort, the more the sovereignty of Europe in particle physics would be maintained. So I will really would like to thank Ulysses to have phoned me today, thanks to Liviu, because it was really a very nice surprise for me when you proposed this project. And thank you also, Antoine and Marcel, to be here today. Thank you.